My name is Dave Barber. We call this segment Capitol Spotlight. We do it each week before the beginning of session on Tuesdays. We're coming to you from the third floor of the Rhode Island State House. We're joined by a woman who always takes our call. She's always willing to come on to discuss the issues, no matter how controversial. It is my pleasure, indeed, to welcome back the Honorable State Representative Doreen Costa. Representative, it's great to see you.
Thanks, Dave.
You were just telling me before this taping, and I was not aware of this, that there's talk now in Rhode Island about rescinding this seatbelt ordinance, that it's going to be, the sunset clause is going to kick in. As it stands right now, as of this taping, if a police officer sees a motorist driving without their seatbelt, that's reason to make a traffic stop, correct?
Correct.
And it's set to end. Bring us up to date as to what's happening with that seatbelt legislation.
Well, it's my understanding that it's set to end, and right now the way that it's written, the law is written that if a police officer sees you not wearing your seatbelt, they can pull you over just for that, and it's an $85 traffic ticket. Now, this was supposed to just take effect over a 2-year period, so the state could get the $1 million in the federal funding for traffic safety, for the signs that you see on the road, buckle up for safety, for minority outreach, for children, you know, about the seatbelt safety. So now they want to extend it. Now, this is the problem in the state of Rhode Island. Once you pass a law, it's really difficult to repeal it, and I think if you're an adult, I mean, I wear my seatbelt all the time. It should be optional. Children all the time, adults, it's your decision.
Now, we probably share the same point of view, but for different reasons. Mine being, because I tend to be, I tend to see conspiracy under every stone. I would think that I would be worried about select enforcement by law enforcement agencies, maybe picking on minorities, picking on people of color, using that seatbelt as a tactic to pull them over. You see it as a freedom of choice kind of issue.
Correct. And I don't see, I mean, police officers in the state of Rhode Island throughout the country, they are trained. They don't racial profile, although some people think they do. I've gotten pulled over. My husband's gotten pulled over. My kids have gotten pulled over. I mean, I don't know anybody that hasn't got pulled over for either speeding or not having a seatbelt on or some moving violation.
Well, I've talked to a lot of African Americans in my lifetime, and almost without question, people of color will tell me they've been stopped. They call it driving while black.
I've heard that saying.
And I hope you're right. I know law enforcement has a tough job, and it's a very dangerous job, and I'm certainly rooting for them. But I think you and I would see the issue the same, but possibly for different reasons. I understand, too, that you're concerned, or you've been watching this story in Connecticut about some maybe sweeping gun law changes in Connecticut. Give me your take.
Pretty drastic, where they want to, of course, the gun registration is going to be a factor, and they want the size of the magazine that holds the bullets and the ammo, they want to limit it to a 10 bullet or ammo capacity. Now that's that's really a very small capacity. I mean, there's some semis that people carry that have 9 and 10 magazines as they are now. There's a lot of people that go to the range for hobbies that will, you know, they own these guns, and these guns have been passed on for years and years and years, and they're from their grandparents, their great-grandparents. So now they would either have to turn the guns in, or they would have to register them, and then they would have to pay a fine if the magazine holds more than 10 bullets. So this story is breaking, and I'm paying really close attention to it.
Well, obviously a lot of people are paying attention to it because it's being talked about nationally. But let me ask you, Rep. Do we need magazines that hold 100 bullets? Do people need access to magazines that hold 100 bullets?
Again, Dave, that's their choice. That is absolutely their choice. And if you look at what's been going on throughout the country, most of the murders and things that the horrific crimes that are committed, they're from stolen guns. There was a gun in Providence last week. It was a semi. The serial number was off it, so they can't even trace it.
So if somebody wants to have an 80 or 100 bullet magazine, you're okay with it?
If they want to go to the range and use it for a hobby, there's nothing wrong with that.
Let me ask you this. What about increasing background checks? 92% of Americans polled, including many Republicans, think we need to step up background checks.
People don't realize when you apply for a concealed carry permit in the state of Rhode Island, you're already background checked.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that. 42% of all gun sales in the United States, there's no background check. 42%.
When I purchased my firearms, They want to know your scars. They want to know if you have tattoos. They want to know your...
That's
and
because
that's
you
all
were
put up-
buying from a licensed,
and
bona
that's how
fide
it
gun
should be.
dealer.
You should be buying from licensed dealers, and most of the crimes are with stolen guns, people that buy them illegally. So the people that are law-abiding citizens should be left alone, period.
But should a person be able to walk into a Texas gun show where an unlicensed
No.
gun seller is, walk up and buy a Bushmaster gun with no background check?
Absolutely not. You should have to show ID, and if you're going for an out-of-state, that I would have to agree with, because they would have to come back and...
But you realize the law now doesn't require that.
I understand that, but I can't see anybody going out-of-state purchasing guns without showing an ID or having some kind of background check.
This is the exact reason why we love having you on Capitol Spotlight, Representative Costa. You're always candid. There's no question as to where you stand on the issues. I really appreciate that. You've always been very cooperative with us. I wish you and your constituents in North Kingstown the very best.
Thank you, Dave.
And of course, we couldn't do it without you. For Capitol Spotlight, I'm Dave Barber.